So I spend a lot of time on this channel talking about very bad periods, dark periods in my life, but I'm gonna switch it up and talk about something that's actually very positive. And elementary school is an experience that stands out as one of those moments in my life. I was actually there for 7 years. I started in pre-K in 2002 and then graduated in 2009. So I literally grew up in that school, and by the time I left, like, it was honestly really hard. A lot of tears were shed, and I was really like I was not very happy about the idea of leaving that school and starting a new chapter in my life, because my at that point my entire living memory was me going to that school. And so I had that routine. And for that to be gone, like, it was a tough pill to swallow, especially once I entered middle school. It was like just a whole new ball game. Like, it was a huge adjustment, and it was very difficult. And I'll spend more time talking about middle school. I'll probably make a video for like each, like, middle school, high school, and college. But elementary school, to go from someone who literally was not potty trained when I started, because my parents were trying, like, you're supposed to be potty trained by the time you're like 3. I was 4, I still wasn't. My parents tried so hard and they just couldn't, until they're like, "You know what? You're going to school in front of all those kids. We're not letting you wear a diaper. You're just wearing underwear. So what's going to happen is you're going to pee and you're going to piss yourself and you're going to embarrass yourself in front of the entire class." And I didn't until it happened, and I was so embarrassed, and I never did that. I never wore a diaper ever again, and I was fully potty trained from then on out. And I remember when my mom took me to school, to pre-K, for the very first time, I was kicking and screaming. I was crying. I did not want to go, because like, at that point, like, my entire life was just being at home with my family, with my parents, and to go out to this place, and for my mom and my dad to not be there the entire time was very scary. And I remember being just absolutely terrified, but I adjusted pretty quickly. I made a lot of friends in pre-K, and from then on out, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third, fourth, fifth, each grade, I remember just enjoying myself. And actually, I mean, of course, when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, I don't want to be in school, and school sucks. And I remember, like, every Sunday, I used to be like, oh no, I have school tomorrow. I don't want to do anything. Like, whenever my mom or anyone wanted to hang out, I'm like, it's Sunday. I'm just sad. Like, Saturday was great, but Sunday is no good. Like, I still kind of have that mentality because I work. My work week starts Saturday nights, and I'm like, every time it's like just Saturday, even like if it's still like 12, 13, 14 hours before I have to go to work, I'm like, I'm already dreading it. I'm like, I really just don't want to go back, because it's like a huge adjustment. Like, to go from being off until going back. Like, that's an experience I had way before I started working. So I remember that being a thing. But honestly, like, when I was there, like, learning and being with kids during recess and lunch and everything, and socializing, I enjoyed. I really did enjoy my experience. I thought it was great, and it really did a lot for me. I thought my teachers were amazing for the most part, almost all of them, and I can honestly say that that was a great elementary school. It was in Brooklyn. There was like, it was a pretty, for an elementary, it was pretty big. I think there was like definitely over 100 kids in my graduating class. So if you times that by 7, I guess that's like 700 kids that were in that school. Yeah, it was pretty big. Because where I live now, you're lucky if you have 20 kids in each grade. So it's like, damn, like, like, the people who I talk to, like, from work, and people that I know that also, like, that live up here and grew up here, like, I had a completely different experience from, like, almost everyone else that I know, like, now in my current location. It's crazy. Um, some of my favorite memories, I guess you could say, is obviously being out in the playground, playing handball, and going down the slide, because we had like a huge playground area. We had a, like, kind of like a little park thing, like, in the backyard of the school. So it was always great, during recess and everything. I remember specifically about school, just being just amazed at, like, learning, like, actually, like, learning new things, and being like, "Oh my god, like, this is like," just being like, how do I describe it? Just like that sense of wonder that you have when you're a child. And like I really was fascinated by new things every single day that I, except for math. Math I didn't care for. And that was true my entire life. But like history, I remember like from the moment when I was like in first grade when they first started teaching history to me, like from then on out, I was like, wow, like learning about like because we had New York State history, learning about the Iroquois and Algonquians. I'm like, yo, like this shit is actually like really interesting, and I actually like really enjoy learning about this stuff. Um, I didn't really have any struggles in school in terms of like grades and everything like that and the homework. My mom was very active when it came to that, so she made sure my homework and everything was perfect and I was learning everything correctly. Like, you know, she was very involved. There were a lot of parents that weren't involved, and I remember there were a good amount of kids that were left behind. I had actually had a couple of friends that were left back a grade because they just weren't able to, you know, to pass, and they weren't doing well. I never had that problem. I had one issue. It's what they call the ELA exam. This is like the state exam that determined like it didn't matter what grade you got and everything else. If you failed that test, then you had to repeat a grade and you couldn't. I think it works differently now, but that's how it worked back in the day. And so it was I think second grade was the first year. Oh no, second grade was like when they started like, you know, preparing us for it. But third grade is when it first started to count. And I failed. And I didn't fail. I was one question away from failing. Like it was super, super, super close. I was struggling like with English class because I couldn't understand the concepts, like like the abstract things, you know, like about literary elements and that kind of shit. Like it was just like if it was not something that was being taught to me directly, like factually, like okay, you know, anything, any fact about, you know, like 2 plus 2 equals 4, or you know the United States was founded in 1776, like things that you know like directly, this is a fact. But it's like trying to interpret and analyze things and try to find the meaning of them. I was never really good at that. It wasn't until much later that I got better at that, like probably around like fourth or fifth grade. But that was honestly very scary because like my parents, my mom especially, was trying really, really, really hard to get me to pay, and I actually got pulled to the principal's office because she's like, you gotta do better in, you know, with this exam, because we did a bunch of practice tests and I was failing all of them, and she's like, you gotta do, like if you don't pass this, you're gonna get screwed. So that was tough trying to adjust to that, because school was always like, I remember my old homework assignments in pre-K and kindergarten especially was literally just doing like coloring, like in a coloring book. That was your homework assignment. So going from that to years later, shit actually mattering and being important, and like it's like you actually might be left back. It's like, oh no. So that was really, really tough. Um but overall, I would say it was a very impactful experience. Overall, very positive until the very end. The go back and watch the video of the terrorist story that I told. I think it's the most popular video on my channel. I ended up not going to the graduation because there was a whole bunch of drama going on between me and the school, and they were like suspending me, and it was like a whole thing. So it was left on a sour note, and it was, you know, like that sucked. But for the vast majority of my time there, between, you know, just being with my classmates and uh learning new things, and the after school program that I was a part of towards the end, like I think fourth grade, I went to after school every day, and I enjoyed that very much. uh Technically my first girlfriend was there too, and that I got down on one knee and proposed to her when I was 4 years old, and we were like, you know, she was my first kiss and everything, and like we had so much history together, like all those years. We were in the same class in the same grade almost like every year except for first grade, I think. um and I just look back and think of just how insane, like that was definitely uh the most change that I went through, like being in one place at the same, like, you know, for those 7 years, because you're growing up from 4 to 11. Like when you're in middle school, it's like 11 to 14, and high school is 14 to 18. I mean, high school definitely uh was, you know, very impactful, but elementary school was definitely way more because of just the evolution and how it's, yeah, it changes you. It definitely does.